What is up, everyone? Welcome to a new episode of New Tales Retold. And you can take a guess. We're talking about Loki, episode 3. So, spoiler warning if you haven't seen it. Um, Here's your little moment. You're all right. You had your moment to click out.
Leave.
Yes, leave if you haven't watched it. Although, not much happens.
No,
I
not
feel like
really.
this was a very
No,
one of the
it's
slower episodes.
this show has been like that. Like it feels like each episode not much is happening, yet when you
Hmm.
actually speak about what's happening, it sounds like
A lot is happening.
it's like more of important things are happening, just not much.
Yeah, like we're getting information.
Not just information, but the whole like even events like the timeline getting bombed, meeting a new Loki, like we're getting a bunch of reveals, yet it still feels like nothing has
Yeah,
happened.
like it's not there's no
Yeah.
progression. I mean, a little bit of progression here. So I like the way they opened up the scene. They opened up the episode with her talking to the TVA agent, and then they leave you the entire rest of the episode wondering, like, what the hell was that about?
Yeah.
And until she finally later explains, um, which is cool. I guess we could start talking about that, right away. But interesting enough, we saw last episode that the commander, which I don't remember if they gave her a name, because I know most of them
They did. I just don't remember
they've
it.
been referring to them as like numbers and letters, like B20 or like
Oh, that's
C319
what I
or
mean. Like
like
they gave her a name, but I just don't like that. Like exactly what you're saying. I
yeah,
just don't remember what
like
it was.
stormtrooper codes and shit.
No, didn't Sylvie say her name when they were talking? Her real name?
I won't lie, I don't know because I was so caught up. I've watched it like 3 times, and each moment I was just like I've never caught that. If they did,
So
I wasn't paying attention
one thing
to
I
it.
find funny is when that scene when you're watching, they're kind of drinking their drink at the same rate, like just as fast as each other, just chugging down their drink.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, "Ah, brain freeze," but Sylvie's just sitting there like, "No brain freeze.
Mm-hmm.
She's a frost giant."
Yeah, right. It's
Granted,
just
I
true.
doubt they did that on purpose. It's
Yeah,
also supposed to be like, oh, it's an illusion.
yeah,
She's the only one feeling the brain freeze because it's not real.
exactly.
She's making her feel the brain freeze.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is true. This is
But
true.
it's like it'd be cool if that was a little knock to her being a frost giant. Like, oh, she didn't get a brain freeze.
Yeah, right.
It'd be cool to see her skin turn blue at one point in this
That would be
show.
cool. But then I have this thing. I don't know because um there was a scene where Loki mentioned, I've told you so much about me, yet I know nothing about you. And obviously, she's like the timekeepers were after and all this stuff. It makes me wonder if she is, I guess, fully a Loki. Um, Man, we have to talk about, you know why? Because we have. I'm gonna go back to that later. But yeah, the opening scene pretty cool. Leaves us on a big like, what the hell? And obviously left us with a bunch of question marks. So it's like, What the hell is this chick doing at a bar in a restaurant? But we find out later on in that same scene with or later on when Loki's like, oh, I've told you everything about me, and they've had
Yeah.
their heart to hearts and all that stuff. Um, I don't know. I have this feeling that maybe she either isn't a Loki or isn't Asgardian, or she's not who she appears to be, and we have everyone speculating she might be Enchantress. She might be Enchantress,
I think she is Enchantress, but not the comic book.
not the original.
Neither of the two, in a sense.
You think this is like their own version of it?
Yeah, I think they're kind of taking both of them and kind of mixing them a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I
So
mean, yeah, because it fits. She's technically Asgardian, just from a
yes,
different timeline.
yes, and she is Loki. They've mentioned that. They've said it. They've confirmed it. She is
Yeah.
Loki of her
Mm-hmm.
respective universe. She's Loki. But just like the second Enchantress, where Loki created her, and then
Yeah.
she became Enchantress.
Yeah. I'm
I
sorry.
feel like what they're gonna
Can
do.
explain that? I'm sorry. Explain that Enchantress, and I'll explain the original. Because so for those that don't know.
Okay, yeah. So there are two enchantresses. There's the enchantress who was born and raised as guardian.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have an enchantress who was believed to be mortal, and Loki gave her powers, making her kind of an Asgardian in a way.
Yeah, giving her the
Uh,
power of Loki in a
but
sense.
there's been a little weird things throughout the comic books because it's also been kind of speculated that she was never human. She was literally made by Loki. So it's like it's kind of hard to say, and I think that's kind of what they're gonna do. Instead of her being made by Loki,
She
she
is a
was
Loki,
Loki,
and then
but
becomes
decides
Enchantress.
exactly.
That's cool, and it's a way to, when you look at especially the comics, older comics, there's just so much, all these different feats, and this character
Yeah,
has six different origins, and then this character, so especially when Marvel's first start, it's
yeah,
probably what they're trying to do. Let's just
and
condense
it's just like
things.
in that sense, technically Loki still made Enchantress
Yeah,
because
right.
Loki became Enchantress, still made her, quote unquote, made her.
Yeah, and then I mean, yeah, because it all fits when you look at all the, I guess the bullet points. She has the name of the non-Asgardian
But
enchantress
I
Sylvie.
also
Hold on, wait. I'm sorry. I just want to go through that little checklist. You got her name. She's obviously Asgardian because she's a
yeah,
Loki. Um, just the
not
word
Asgardian. She's a frost giant.
a frost giant. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yes, frost giant.
That's
Um,
another thing everyone keeps forgetting.
yes.
Keep calling
Yeah,
Loki
keep going
Asgardian. Loki's
Asgardian.
not
He's not.
Asgardian. Loki's a frost giant.
Um, they obviously are just pretty much telling us. They throw the word enchant around all the fucking
All
time.
the time, yes, because
Um,
she's enchanting people. Enchanting. She
yeah,
made
and
that
then she
magic.
later even
She
explains.
made that magic.
Yeah, she later even explains how it works, and it literally works the same way as the original
Mm-hmm.
Enchantress of, like,
Just grabbing a hold of
grabbing
their mind.
people. Big difference is the original Enchantress was very lustful and very, like, it was
Yeah.
all, that's how she used to, men and women. She used to
Yeah.
just make you do what you want just because you would fall in love with her and she's beautiful
At
and
one point,
I want to
she
do anything for
made
you.
Vision fall in love with her.
Yeah, she did it with two visions, so it's, I guess they didn't want to
That shit was so
bring
funny
that
too,
part
because
in.
him and Scarlet Witch got into the biggest
Yeah,
argument,
Scarlet
and
was
that
just
shit was so
pissed.
funny.
Even
Because it's like he was just like, yeah, she's beautiful. She's like, what?
right? What the hell are you talking about? Interesting enough though, one thing I want to mention about the non-original Enchantress, the Loki made one.
Mhm.
Um, when the original found out about her using pretty much carrying her persona,
Mhm.
she banished her. So it's like you got all these things with these originals that you can kind of throw into the show because it's like she's running from something. She's trying to
Yeah.
destroy something that's trying to get rid of her. Maybe she realized. Um, I'm trying to think of why they would be after her. Maybe she realized the truth between the TVA. Doesn't want to tell
I think
Loki.
before you figure out, well, I think they're after her because she's just trying to destroy the TVA. We just have to figure out why is she trying to destroy the TVA.
Yeah, right. Maybe something about how her version of Loki is in accordance to their, to
It
what they decree.
definitely does have to do why she doesn't want to be called Loki anymore.
Yeah, yeah,
It
because she's like
definitely does.
she's so on
Yeah.
that. Don't call me Loki. Don't call
Yeah.
me
I'm not
Loki.
Loki
I'm Sylvie.
anymore. Another thing too, I don't know, it's kind of confusing. It makes me wonder if she isn't Loki.
Right, that's what I'm saying. There's so much
Because
mystery behind it.
when Loki was looking through the paperwork in the episode before this, it didn't say
It said
Lofi Laufey
Sylvie,
daughter. It said Sylvie Laufey daughter, and they have to have all accurate information on those paperwork. So technically, that's her name. Even if she named herself, they're not gonna have what she named herself on those paperwork.
they're
They're
gonna
gonna
have
have
her
her
original
real
name. They called
name.
him Loki, Laufey's son. They didn't
Yep.
call him Odin's son,
Yeah.
even though Odin raised
Exactly. He
him.
called himself Odin's son. Well, then again, not at that point.
No, but later on he
Yeah.
did. So it's like,
So it's like it kind of goes to show that deep down, even at that time, he considered himself Odin's son, not Laufey's son.
yeah,
So it's like if that was the case, they should have wrote Loki Odin's son, but they
mm-hmm,
didn't. It's Loki Laufey's son,
yeah,
and on her paperwork, it's Sylvie Laufey daughter. So it's like, is she really a Loki, or is she pretending to
to
be
be
a
a Loki,
Loki,
right?
or are they mistaking her for a Loki? It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
What if in her universe she was supposed to be Loki, but Loki never existed in her universe? It was her,
Right, and she just
Sylvie.
steered off the path that she was
Yeah,
supposed
and
to
that's why
stay
she
on.
became a variant because she was no long. She wasn't Loki. Instead of Loki being born, she was born.
Yeah,
Like I don't know. It's weird because it's like they throw way too many hints that she's not Loki.
mm-hmm.
One thing that kind of scared me, they did it again in this episode, is they keep throwing hints that Loki isn't the story isn't about Loki. It isn't about him, and it's kind of scaring me. Like these
Yeah.
next 3 episodes are gonna do this whole big twist, and it's gonna be like, oh, he wasn't the main character. The whole show wasn't about him the whole time. That's gonna be kind of disappointing
Yeah.
because everyone wanted a show about Loki.
Yeah, right? For real. It's just gonna be an enchantress origin story. For real. But
And then yeah, it's kind of like in a way that Scarlet Witch and the Vision was kind of an origin story for them.
yeah. Like a
Really
new
think
like
about
a
it, it was like a
fresh
new
start.
origin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It's
Him
kind of like
him
what they're doing now with all of their stuff, new origin stories.
yeah. White Wolf and Captain America,
Yep. It
fucking the
seems like they're
new
doing.
Vision and the evil Scarlet Witch.
Yep.
Like this is true. This is true.
I
Yeah.
just I
They're giving them their MCU fresh
I
start,
just
I guess.
hope they don't do that whole thing with guys, weren't lying. It really isn't about Loki. It'll be very disappointing.
Right?
Very
The same way
disappointing.
Vision had a very awesome scene with someone he's always wanted to work with. But in the beginning, so she gets into what I question, even though yeah, the commander, the girl with the really long dreadlocks, that she took over, right? Dreadlocks, yeah, dreadlocks.
It looked like it.
Um, she knew the location to the timekeepers, which I thought was weird because yes, she's a commander, but I would imagine that the timekeepers' location would be like some top secret service CIA 5 people know. You know what I mean? Like the fact that someone who great example they keep saying Loki is showing breaches in their security. It's a great example. Not that many people should know how to get to the timekeepers if this is possible.
Um, it's weird though, cause it's like breach of security, but not in TVA, outside the TVA. In
Yeah.
the aspect of time, they found a breach in their security. But if you really think about it, it does make sense that they have a direct access to the timekeepers. Especially, they tried to emphasize how involved they are.
Yeah, yeah, but at the same
Which is
time,
weird because they weren't that involved in the comic books. They were just there.
I mean, in the comic books, I feel like they were dealing with things that they couldn't fully. I mean, obviously, as far as we know, time travel ain't real, so it's not really there's no way to understand it and for it to make sense. But I feel like there was even less of a imaginary idea of it back in the day.
Yeah, I feel like back then
So
they
it
thought
was
it
a
was
lot harder.
simple. You just go back in time and that's it.
So and then they try to do this whole effect in the future and then not, and then it just got
No,
confusing.
yeah, because
So
it's
I
like
think the MCU is just kind of resetting all that.
that's one of the bad things about time travel. Time travel creates too many holes. Literally, like in time, plot, like it literally makes too many holes. Like, because that butterfly effect, like, I honestly think that does exist. You change one little thing, it's gonna cause a ripple effect. Obviously, it depends on what it is. Like, if I move that speaker over there, it's not gonna do anything.
Yeah.
But it's just like, in a sense, like doing stuff to people, it's gonna just change everything.
Yeah.
Like, for example, when Mobius was talking about how when they were, I just realized how far I was. I didn't know if you guys heard me.
No, yeah, I could hear you pretty well.
Okay. When Mobius was talking to Loki and he was like, "We can't be seen here. Even me being seen is enough to create a branch."
Yeah.
So like that. Now think about it. He was like trying to incorporate that is gonna change so much. Now imagine someone goes back in time and gets seen by hundreds of people. That's gonna change
Everything, yeah.
everything.
Mhm.
Instead of just one person finding it, and just that one thing changes this story. No, 100 people saw you, so now it's gonna change mad
Yeah,
shit.
the whole story.
Yeah. So it's like that's why time travel it's hard to do. Hopefully, this is the last time we'll see it.
Or hopefully, maybe this is their way to end it. Maybe their way to end the idea of time travel. Time travel is to just shatter the multiverse, and then after that, not necessarily call it time travel, just call it the multiverse, and you're going between different universes that are just in a way
Yeah,
happening at the same
that's
time.
down from what I've seen and read. That's like the simplest idea of time
Yeah.
travel. That you're not necessarily going back in
You're going to
time.
a different universe.
Yeah, because in the idea of a multiverse is every like option a person can choose has been chosen and will be chosen. So that means it's like you walking out that door between jumping out the window. Both of those happen.
Yeah.
So it's like when you go back in time, it's gonna be either of those options that you're going to.
Mhm.
Now, if you're living in the one that you go through the door, when you go back in time, you're not gonna go to that one. You're gonna go to the one where you jump out the window,
Yeah.
like that. So it's like that's the only way I could see it. Hopefully, like, I just hope they just get like in the future they just stop all this time travel stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they're gonna kind of break that
Yeah,
here with Loki.
like
Hopefully.
because I think it's a good idea to use time travel to do a restart. I feel like that's a great idea, but
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want it to continue
Like
because
a continuous. 'Cause
ever
it just gets
since they started
confusing.
this whole time travel thing, everything's been really confusing.
Yeah. Everyone. Yeah. Videos nonstop of everyone.
Trying to explain it, but
Yeah.
it's just like when the moment they break down how they just explained it, they'll come out with a new episode, new show, new movie, explaining it completely different.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, okay, it's like you guys are either they're purposely trying to confuse people or they don't even know what they want to do with time and
Yeah.
time travel.
Right.
It's one of those two.
That's true.
Honestly, even if it's the latter, they're never going to admit it. They're
Yeah.
always going to call it the former.
Yeah. When they were, it's interesting enough when they were breaking into when they got into the TVA, like just after she bombs the secret timeline. In the scene where her and Loki are fighting, which it's still like, yeah, he's a magician, but in the beginning of the episode, like him fighting her, maybe he's holding back, I don't know, but she's beating him up, and Slayer was ready to take both of them out. She didn't give a shit. Yo, she swaying. Lady Loki or Sylvie was like, "I'll kill him." Slayer's just like, "Okay." Do
Slayer
it.
didn't even want him alive in the first place.
Yeah, so like, I don't give a
Remember,
shit.
right?
Like,
She was ready to sentence him to be destroyed, right?
yeah, right there
in
and
the beginning,
then.
in the first episode.
Fucking wild.
She's funny though.
Yeah, she is funny. And in this
She
episode, ooh,
has a
I'm
lot
sorry,
of trust in Mobius.
a lot of trust in Mobius, which I want to get to, but because I want to mention this, we got like, I feel like when I was looking back at the scene when they were when they're trying to escape the planet Loki threw themselves in when they escape the TVA, and they're on the planet that's getting destroyed by the moon. Which, funny enough, in the scene where the moon in the end of the episode cracks in half, it looks just like the Death Star has a
Mhm.
little crater on the top too. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Pretty sure they did that on purpose.
leave
They
it to
had
Disney to show little Easter eggs of other Disney stuff.
Yeah, right. They had to have done that on purpose.
They do it in every single one of their things. They always throw some other Disney
Yeah.
Easter egg in their stuff. Like if
This is
you
cool.
if you watch all those cartoon movies, you'll see hints at the other cartoon movies in them. Like I think in one of the more recent animated movies, in the movie theater on top it says The Incredibles.
Oh yeah, the incredible. Yeah, that's pretty cool. But in that scene, right? Yeah, she didn't care. She was about to kill him, and then
No, it was in WandaVision. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
it
It
was
was
in
in WandaVision.
WandaVision.
It
Yeah,
said The
because you said that, and
Incredibles.
I was thinking about this now, and I'm like, wait. But I don't know. It's like, think about it. This was the 2012 Loki that came from all this, right? He's behaving like the 2018 Loki. He's not behaving like the 2012 Loki. The 2012 Loki, I felt like was just like genuinely was a bad person. Like he said, like Mobius said, he literally
of times.
ripped that guy's eye out with the machine and was just smiling there, like,
He literally stabbed people in the
yeah.
back dozens of times, hundreds of times. Nah, it's just I agree,
It's
100%.
it's like, let's
100%.
give him the development he's had over years in the MCU and throw it out like really in a short span of time inside this show.
Yeah, because I think they thought the idea of, hey, everyone liked Loki from Ragnarok, so let's bring that
Mhm.
Loki back.
Yeah,
And it's just like,
it's
yeah,
not
let's just
accurate.
get rid of all of the character development. He was always like that from the beginning, guys. That means
He was
throughout all
always
these
good.
movies, there was no character development. He was just really low key like that. So it's like, oh,
True.
okay, so he didn't develop, he didn't become a better
He
person.
didn't become, yeah, he was always a good person doing
Always
bad
a
shit.
good person, doing bad shit. It's an illusion from the weak to conjure fear, or whatever he said.
Yeah, and it's Yeah, it's funny because now that I'm thinking about the show, they give their excuses about his development.
Yeah.
A bad guy's not always truly bad, same way as a good guy's not always truly good. When he's talking about the timekeepers, I don't know, but
Good guys aren't always truly good.
yeah,
If you wonder what good guy are they gonna make bad now?
no, I think he was just referring to the timekeepers because Mobius was
Oh,
so
okay.
like the
Yeah, that's
timekeepers
true.
decree everything and praise the timekeepers.
But then again, Mobius did agree with him when he said that.
yeah, he
so-
sat there like,
Yeah,
Touche.
it's true. Yeah, because if you think about it, Mobius, I don't know if he actually said it or he kind of hinted at it. There are stuff they have to allow happen.
Yeah,
They have to
of
allow mass
course.
murder. They have to allow natural disasters. They have to
Yeah,
allow
let people
millions of
die.
people to die, which goes to show that you're not all good. Because if you were all good, you
You would
wouldn't.
try to not let
Yes,
anyone die, and you would
they
try
have
to.
no choice but not to not be all good. They can't.
Yeah, but I want to go back to Loki because I'm so glad that we're starting to see a little bit more. I feel like throughout the MCU, he's just getting slapped around, slapped around. In this episode, we saw him hold his own a lot more hand to hand with
They give an
Sylvie.
excuse for that too.
Yeah, right. They give an excuse for that too,
It was
which
his
is
path to
stupid.
make other people better.
Yeah. But yeah, he gets his ass kicked, and he's finally holding his own. And the big moment in the end when they're running for that ship, and the planet just after they show the little Death Star moon, and the a building is falling, and Loki just stops it and throws it back.
Oh
Remember that
yeah.
scene? I was just like, yes, thank you. Show us some power of Loki. Like, I feel like if it was during the original MCU timeline, he would have just gotten crushed or something and then had to dig himself out. Or, like, something stupid. Like, we're actually seeing his potential and his power. And, like, I don't know. That's
That's
pretty
cool
cool.
and all, but why doesn't he do that in fights?
I mean, yeah, we're starting to see him, like, in the train scene. He uses magic a little bit. I don't know.
He's,
You have the inconsistencies where it's just like one moment he's getting his ass kicked, and you were
you're
just
telling
like,
me he can toss a freaking 10-ton building in the air, but he can't do that to people, regular people.
yeah, well, I know. It's the inconsistency of Loki.
Like, it's
He's
maybe he can only do that spell to inanimate objects. That would be the only thing I can think of.
yeah, right.
But like other than that, there has to be more to it. There has to be more
Mhm.
magic. Where are his illusions? Oh, he did little fireworks from his hand.
Mhm.
Really? Really?
This is true. This is true.
Little fireworks from his hand?
I mean, they looked cool. He even said it. Did they explain why the people on the train went after him?
They didn't
Or
have tickets.
that's literally the only reason why? So it's so I'm assuming the other guy got mad that he was the heart of the party. He was making everyone dance and sing. He's like, I don't
Yeah.
like this guy. I want to
Yeah.
go tell the security.
No, you have
Like,
to remember he
why?
switched back to the TVA outfit, his variant outfit. Does not look like he belongs there at all.
Yeah, because
with
it's
that
all
outfit.
rich people. It was all rich people. That
Yep.
that was sad. Everyone crying like, why? Like, do you leave us? And that's fucking karma, because they were never gonna get off the planet anyway.
Nope, they were not.
Like,
It's crazy.
insane. Yeah, to see when that happened, when I saw that the piece of the moon hit the ship, I was like, holy crap, how are they getting off? Which was a crazy cliffhanger because it just leaves us there. We don't know how the hell they're getting off that planet. Um, yeah,
Watch Loki pull the device out of his pocket because it was
right
just an
after it
illusion
was
that it was
broken,
destroyed.
right? Oh man, but I can't forget this. During his party, we see it's an Asgardian thing and not a Thor thing. Another. He throws the
I kind of
gas. I
assumed that
love
was
it.
an Asgardian
I
thing.
love it.
Another thing the one thing that confused the hell out of me though is how did he get drunk so easily? Or maybe he was drunk. Maybe this is all a ploy by Loki to get her to tell him.
Maybe more time passed than we think. Maybe they were
I
on
was
that plane
thinking of
for
it.
hours.
Maybe he's just trying to get her to confess what her plan is. Maybe he thinks if she thinks she's about to die, she'll admit it. So
Yeah.
he's sabotaging everything. Think about it, he's sabotaged everything so far.
It's funny though, but it's also that because technically that planet needs to get destroyed and no one's supposed to get off the planet.
Yep. What if he still has a device to escape? But he's waiting. He wants to know her plan, so he's fucking with her.
Bro, then he's cutting it fucking close because
And I would love that because it would go to show he's the god of mischief.
yeah, it's true.
He wasn't really
Bro,
drunk.
he needs to make
It
it
didn't
happen
really
'cause the whole
break.
planet's
He's
about
not
to
really
explode.
fucking up. He's doing all this on purpose.
Right, because they make him such a ditz. Like he messes up all the
But
time.
Loki's not. Even Mobius said it when he was like, "I'm smart," and Mobius was serious. He said, "I know," and if you look at his face, he meant it.
Yeah.
He knows Loki is smart. That's why he was always on the edge with everything Loki did.
Yeah. watching his every move. He said
Yeah.
he studied his whole
So I
life.
have a feeling that Loki is just doing this on purpose to get her to think she's about to die and confess.
Yeah. Hmm.
Which
That'd
is
be
cool
interesting.
because it'll go to show that he's the superior Loki.
Right, right. That's true. Um, man, the biggest reveal that we get, which I think we already speculated, but confirmed that all the TVA are variants.
Yes.
That's huge. One, how did she know that? You see, that's where the mystery of her,
Was she a part
like,
of the TVA?
right, where this, right, and then she's a variant that they gotta have to get rid of. Like, how does she know that? And I had another big thing with that. Let's say if they all are, variants, right? We got the hint in the office with Slayer talking about her other analyst, her other favorite analyst, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, telling him it was him that left the glass mugs there, which we spoke about last episode, him being cloned
Cloned.
in the comics. It
Which
makes me wonder if Slayer is a variant,
it's funny that you
and if
say
she
that. Instead
knows
of him being cloned, he's a variant. Technically, there are other
there are other
versions of him
Mobiuses.
that wouldn't look exactly like him.
Imagine that they're all Mobius. Every single person there, just different versions, different timelines.
Well, I think it would make sense Slayer is a variant because she was a Minuteman,
She was,
and they said
but
all
what
of
if
them were
she
variants.
remembers? What if she knows? Like, what if she's fully aware that they're all variants and what the timekeepers are doing,
I feel
and
like
she's
that's
just
in the timekeeper and for the timekeepers that's too much of a risk.
yeah, because they're trying to hold on to power, and the
Yeah,
best way
I feel like
to
that's
hold them is
yeah.
to leave them blind.
It makes I hope this is it because from what I remember in the comic books, the timekeepers they were good. They weren't bad people. They weren't like it's hard to say like obviously because like Loki said not all, they're not
Yeah,
all good, but like they didn't do this purposely. They didn't hurt people purposely in that sense of good.
yeah,
So it's like it's weird that they would do something like that and not really kind of like trust their people, the variants, and
yeah.
how
I
they
mean,
wouldn't remember. It's just all
you had your
confusing.
theory. You had your theory of Kang
Yeah,
running the
Kang
TVA.
secretly running it.
But you never know. Maybe these people are bad, and
Or maybe
maybe
they're not the timekeepers. Maybe they are the
the
time
time
twisters.
twisters. And they're actually a bad, and they're
And
actually just a bad group.
maybe the timekeepers are locked up somewhere.
Imagine that.
That's when they.
Imagine,
Because I have
Miss Minutes is one of the timekeepers is being held in up imprisoned.
right. That'd be crazy. It would like honestly, it would kind of make sense that eventually they get to the end to stop the timekeepers, but it turns out everyone was wrong. Like someone was that the timekeepers aren't bad. Someone is just taking advantage of them using the power that they have.
Yeah,
Because so far, there hasn't been any hint to a twist happening.
yeah.
And obviously, in every show and every movie, there's gonna be some type of twist. Whether it's the timekeepers just being bad, which I feel like is too simple, but then
And it's
again,
because it's obvious
but
that
then
they're
again, it's
talking about it like
Disney.
they are bad.
It's Disney.
Mhm.
For all we know, that is the direction they're gonna
Yeah.
go. You know how many times we predicted the later on, we're like, nah, that's too simple, and we try to come up with other theories, and it turns out we were right the first
Yeah, the
time.
first time with the simple thing. But to go back to everyone being variants, I wanted to point. There was something I was thinking of because like something about Mobius. Obviously, Mobius stands out. He's the main TVA agent of the show. I wonder if he's like that, the Loki of the TVA, where they're always having issues with him, so he has to constantly get replaced because he's the one to do the things they're not supposed to, or to break the rules they shouldn't break, or
that
to because they keep hinting at that too. She keeps looking at him like, bro, you're stressing me out.
that would make sense because when Loki asked him, "So how long have you been here?" He
Yeah,
said,
time runs
"What?
differently here in the
I
TVA.
wouldn't really know. Time runs differently here in the TVA. Maybe time doesn't run differently in the TVA. Maybe he's just been there for so long because he's been, like you said,
Replaced by a different variant
over
of him
and over
every
and
time.
over."
That'd be insane. That'd be insane, and I would truly break his
Imagine that you're
trust.
sitting there, you don't remember anything, and they bring you a stack. Oh, these are everything you've done before. Like,
Hmm.
oh, okay, so let me. This is everything I've done. This is everything. This is who I am.
Right, and you don't even remember
You don't even
any of it.
question it.
Hmm. Yeah, that'd be pretty crazy. One last thing I want to brush up on, which it's been bugging me, when Sylvie and Loki were fighting, and she had the device in her hand, the device for them to travel from the TVA, that had all the different buttons, like things you can click on, and
Mm-hmm.
one of them was an image of Miss Minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And right when she's gonna like she was gonna press that button to destroy him or do whatever, and I want to know what that button does. It's Miss Minutes. So it's like it's not just like why that symbol? Why her? Like what does that do? What does that button do? That you have to add her image. Does it bring him back in time and make him an infant? Does it make him old and kill him? Like what does it
Does it
do?
stop time?
Right? And it frees him in place and he just can't move forever?
Does it make minutes appear in front of
Right?
them?
She's like the biggest mystery, and it's like they brushed up on it. And it's like everyone's so focused on the Lady Loki and the timekeepers, and I'm just like, but Miss Minutes, who is Miss Minutes? She's part alive, part recording. She can go be outside in the physical world and then jump into the computer. Like I don't know. I feel like she's and apparent. I had seen somewhere. I think I had read an article that apparently in an interview, the voice actress was like, like Miss Minutes. We're gonna see a lot more of Miss Minutes. So I'm like, what's her significance?
She is the timekeepers.
Right? Imagine she's the bad guy. That would be crazy. That nice little hey y'all. And she's been the bad guy the whole time,
And there we go, our twist.
right? But
A
yeah, I
pretty
don't.
disappointing
Yeah,
reveal.
that would be a
Miss Minutes
disappointing
is
review.
bad the whole time. It was Miss Minutes all along.
Yeah, you never know. But yeah, that's all I really got. That's all like it was a slow episode. It wasn't much. It left us honestly with just more questions than it did with
It
answering
felt like a
anything.
filler episode with
Yeah.
minor important details thrown in there. One thing that got me about this episode was they spent too much time talking about Loki's past. I'm talking about our Loki, not Lady
Yeah.
Loki. We know all of that already. And the point of adding all this information is for you to tell it, pretty much show and tell it to the people viewing it.
Yeah.
You're giving us a bunch of information we already know.
Yeah,
Why?
for
What's
real.
the point? You spent this whole time them getting you're like people are going to use the excuse, "Oh, they're getting to know each other." But it's just like it's doing nothing. It's not driving the plot forward,
Yeah.
telling us more about the Loki we already know.
Yeah. That's true. That's so yeah. That's true. And then they even mention it. He's like, I know nothing about you, and you
Yeah.
know everything about me. She's like, oh, thanks for the tactical advantage. Like
But it's just
I
like
don't know. I think they're gonna wait till like the last episode and like reveal everything about her and like truth and all that
I
stuff.
feel like it's the same thing that happened in the first few episodes of the other shows. Not, it's like almost nothing is happening.
Yeah.
Nothing. So far, like honestly,
They could have made this a movie.
I've been kind of disappointed in their shows so far.
Yeah.
Cause it's like
Man, Falcon and the Winter Soldier started
they
pretty
had
well.
it started awesome.
Yeah, then it kind
And
of
then
got a
just
little.
and then it started honestly it started to become too family friendly. Though I didn't expect it to get all brutal, bloody, but it's just like I don't know. I guess I'm expecting too much
Yeah, right.
from them, but I expected a show that was is greatly written. But it's just it seems like they're just trying to throw stuff at us, throw stuff at us, throw stuff at
Yeah,
us. Here guys, here guys, here guys. I feel like they're getting lazy. It feels like they're getting lazy, like they didn't even care for these shows.
yeah. It could have. I don't know. It's just the writers. They just need better writers, and they need to. I think there's so
They need to
much
be
source
people
material
passionate,
that they're not
not
looking
about.
at.
They need people who are passionate about writing Marvel characters.
Yeah,
Not people who are passionate about making a TV show, making a movie, specifically Marvel.
yeah,
Because it's like, for example, you got the lady who wrote WandaVision, who didn't even know who Mephisto was. Do you know what a person who's passionate about Marvel and is a great, who's just as good as her at making shows, like they would have included so much. There would have been so much.
Yeah, so many Easter eggs just thrown throughout.
Yeah, like they could have done. They probably would have like taken so much from the comic books and incorporate it. Like, mind you, I don't mind if they change it. Like,
Yeah,
it's I don't want it to be exactly the same as I actually don't want it to be exactly the same as the comic books.
yeah,
I want there to be some differences. Doesn't make sense. It's to make two things exactly the same.
yeah,
It's like Game of Thrones. It's like reading the book and then watching the show, and it's exactly the same thing. Like, like it would be kind of weird.
yeah,
It's like if that's the case, just read the book.
yeah.
It's probably written, it probably would have been written better anyways.
True,
It's
true.
like a lot of people liked both because of it was kind of different. Because in Game of Thrones, the show, you don't really know what's gonna happen because it's not the same as the books.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like they're getting lazy with these shows. They got lazy with these shows. It's not like the movies.
yeah,
Honestly, it wasn't. I didn't even think they were as entertaining as the movies.
yeah. They're definitely not as much action and stuff. I mean,
But
cause
even
like,
minus the action, a lot, at least in the movies, they try to keep out the unimportant stuff, like the stuff that doesn't move the plot forward. They tried at least to keep that out.
yeah,
But now it's like in the show, they're like, oh, we're gonna have one moment in each episode that's important, and the rest of the episode is basically gonna be filler up until that moment.
yeah. I don't know.
That's what
Let's
it
see.
feels like.
Hopefully, this next couple episodes give us a little more juice. See what happens.
I just like honestly, I want them to get rid of useless scenes,
Yeah,
pointless scenes, scenes that don't move the plot. Like, yeah, I like that whole thing about him getting drunk, and that whole fighting scene obviously pushed the plot forward. But that whole conversation about love, they literally had to sit there for what 5-10 minutes in that whole part having that conversation about love. Nothing that had to do with the story. Nothing that really had to do about them.
I mean, in that part, I think it just showed like it just not really showed, but told just how gods are. Just gods don't care like about. I
But
think
are they gods? Because they kind of, you know, playing it like they're not.
yeah. I don't know. Let's see what happens though. Let's see what happens in the upcoming episodes. Let us know what you guys think.
Yes.
Did you guys like this episode? Did you think this kind of was a filler episode in a way? And yeah, if you liked it, didn't like it, let us know. Please comment and subscribe, and we'll see you all in the next one.